Hello everyone, my name is Arohi and welcome to my channel. So guys, today we will understand what is agentic RAG and how it is different from normal RAG. So we will first understand the concept of agentic RAG with examples and then I'll show you how to implement it practically. So to understand agentic RAG, we need to understand two parts. What is RAG and what is agentic AI? So first we will see what RAG is. So RAG means retrieval augmented generation. So using RAG, we can provide extra information to the LLMs so that they can give better and more accurate answers. So imagine you ask an AI model, what are the top selling phones in India this month? So a normal LLM, which was trained a year ago, won't know the answer of this. Why? Because LLMs are trained on fixed data, and once training is done, and then they don't know if anything new comes unless we retrain them, and retraining is a very costly and slow process. Then what is the solution, how we can overcome this problem? So instead of retraining the model, we can use RAG, and RAG allows the LLM, allows the model to fetch updated information from various external sources. Models can fetch information from internet, they can fetch information from PDFs or databases or any other external source, right? And once the model receive the new current information, the latest information, then the models can generate answers based on that new updated information. So this way model stays current without retraining. So this is what RAG is. Now let's see how does RAG work. So RAG has three main steps: retrieve, augment and generate. So retrieve means that it will search for relevant information from external sources. So if user asks the question which needs the access of new information, so in that case this retrieve step, this will retrieve that new updated information from various external sources, and once it get that information, then that information will be added into the prompt with the question. So the question which user asked, with that question this new retrieved information will be added, right? Then these two things will go to the next step, which is generate, where LLM will generate the answer based on this new information. So let's take one example and let's see how RAG will work step by step. So let's say user asked a question, what is the latest paper in generative AI? Now we need the information of latest papers. So first RAG will search some academic sites like archive, right? And then it will retrieve the latest papers from there, and then it will insert that into the prompt. Then LLM answers with the most updated information. So using RAG, we can make LLM answers the question based on the new data without retraining. So RAG is very useful. Why? Because RAG keeps the AI model updated without retraining. It will allow access to private or domain specific information. So what it means is, let's say the LLM which you are using is trained 6 months ago, okay, and LLMs are trained on publicly available data, and now you want to ask a question related to your company. Let's say you have a startup and you want to ask question related to the data of your company. Now LLMs don't have answers of that question because LLMs are not trained on that. So using RAG, you can provide data of your company to the LLM, then you can ask questions related to that, right? So this is what domain specific and private data means. So if you're using RAG, then there is no need of retraining your model, which will save time, money and resources. So RAG makes our application more smarter because now it has access to real-time information. So now we understood what RAG is. Now let's understand about agentic AI. What is agentic AI? So agentic AI means those AI systems that can make decisions, they can plan tasks, and they take actions autonomously to complete any task end to end. So let me give you one example. Let's say you want to find the best laptop for learning AI under 80,000 rupees. So a normal AI, a regular AI will give you a basic reply to this question. Let's say you asked a question, provide me the find me the best laptop for machine learning under 80,000. So the regular AI will give you a basic reply like look for 16 GB RAM laptop which have NVIDIA GPU. This regular AI will give you this kind of reply. See, it is not searching anything from internet. It is not performing any comparison between multiple laptops. It just gave you a very basic generic reply. Now let's see how agentic AI will handle this task. So user asked a question, find the best laptop under 80,000 rupees. So in this case, agentic AI will first plan the task. It will search the websites, e-commerce websites like Flipkart, Amazon, and or Chroma, right? And once it searches the product, it will then filter those products by price, and after that it will perform the comparisons, specification comparisons, right, the GPU, CPU and the RAM, and then it will provide us the top 3 or top 5 laptops. Okay, see, all this is happening without you asking for each steps. It thinks, plans and executes on its own. So now we know what is agentic AI, now we know what is RAG. Now let's talk about agentic RAG. Agentic RAG combines the power of RAG with the intelligence of agentic AI. So here with RAG, we can search external sources to get the answer related to new and current topic, and agentic AI will do it autonomously. So now let's take one example and see how RAG work and how agentic RAG work. What is the difference between normal RAG and agentic RAG? Now let's take one example and see how RAG and agentic RAG work. And I'm sure after going through this example, you will understand fully what is agentic RAG and how it is better than RAG. So imagine someone asks a question, what is the best laptop for AI under 80,000 rupees in India? So first let's see how RAG will handle this problem. So RAG will search a pre-stored knowledge base. First, let's understand this line. RAG will search a pre-stored knowledge base. Pre-stored means the information is already stored somewhere in a vector database, and from that vector database, your agent, your application will search for the answer. Okay, so when user asked a question, find the laptop for learning AI under 80,000 rupees, so the agent will check that pre-stored knowledge. So in this case, let's say, okay, let me show you one document. Let's say we have this text file laptop underscore info. Okay, let me open this file. Okay, so this text file have the information of laptops. So this is the one laptop, and then the second laptop, third laptop. Like this, let's say we have the information of 50 or 60 different laptops over here. And if we are using RAG, so RAG will only search this document, and this document have only 50 laptops. So your RAG application will give you answer based on this document only, based on these 50 laptops only. Out of these 50 laptops only, it will recommend you the best laptop under 80,000 rupees. Okay, so this is what RAG does. So it will search from a pre-stored knowledge base. Now let me show you one example. Okay, this example, just see this example here. I'm showing you how RAG work. So we are not going to see this in detail because I have already explained you the concept of RAG in various videos. You can check these videos with LangChain, with LangGraph. Here I have explained in detail theoretically and practically how RAG work. Today, I'm just going to show you the overview how RAG will handle this problem, and majorly will focus on agentic RAG. So this example is with LangChain. So I have provided the link of this also in a description section. If you want, you can try this from there. So first we are importing all the modules. See, we are loading. So this is the text file. This text file which I have shown you, which have the data of 50 laptops, let's say right now. So we are loading that information, right? After loading the entire text file, we are dividing it into smaller chunks. Here the chunk size is 500. We are saying this file, divide it into smaller chunks, smaller documents, and the size of each document, each chunk should be this. And when I divided into smaller chunk, here I have printed how many documents we have. We have 5 documents. Why? Because the number of laptops over here are actually less, so I have only entered 6 laptop details over here. Okay, so that's why we have 5 document. Each document is of size 500. And then using this line docs2, in docs variable only we have divided the text file into smaller chunks. So I'm just showing you one chunk. Doc2 means the document which is at index number 2. You can see the content of that. So this is what we have in document number 2. Okay, so we divided the file into smaller chunks. After that, you need to convert these words into some sort of numbers, which is called embeddings. Because the LLM don't understand the words like this, you need to convert them into some sort of numbers using some embedding model. So there are different embedding models. Google have some embedding models. You can use OpenAI's embedding model. You can get embedding model from Hugging Face. So in my today's tutorial here, I'm using Google generative AI embedding. So this is a embedding model of Google, and here you can use it. This is how you can use it. What I'm doing is, you need a API key, and to get the API key you can visit this link, and then you can get the API key. And the embedding model which I'm using is, I took that embedding model from here, and here you can see other embedding models also. Let's say if you want to work with some other embedding model, you can get it from there. For my today's tutorial, I'm using this embedding model, and for that you need Google's API key. So I have stored that API key in .env file. So what is .env file? So we have created a separate file. Let me show you. See here, this is the .env file. So when you'll open this env file, you will see this kind of API key. So you'll paste your Google's API key over here, right? So here, using this line, we are importing, we are loading the API key from .env file. And which API key we have in .env file? Google's API key. So we are loading the API key. We mentioned the embedding model. Then here I'm just showing you like how to embed. So let's say we want to embed this hello world into some sort of embedding. So this is how you can embed, and after embedding you will get these kind of numbers. So these kind of numbers your model understand. Now the way we converted this hello world into embedding, we have to convert all the chunks into the embeddings. What chunks? How many chunks we have? We have 5 chunks. Each chunk is of size 500, and this kind of data we have in it. So we need to convert these words, these chunks into embedding. So for that we need this. So vector database. Whenever you want to store the embeddings, you need a vector database for it. And for my today's tutorial, I'm using Chroma database. This is a vector database, means you can store these embeddings in it, right? So see how we can use it. Here you're providing 2 parameters to it. Chroma is a vector database where we want to store the embeddings. So the documents which are present in docs variable, on those documents I want to perform embedding using this embedding model which I mentioned here. And I want to use embedding model on all the documents. So we have how many documents? We have 5 documents. And after converting those documents into embeddings, I want to store them into Chroma database. So now the new data, the new information which your LLM doesn't have, that information we stored in a vector database. And now when user will ask a question, for which laptop is best for machine learning under 80,000 rupees, then the retriever will go to the vector store, this vector database. It will use the similarity, okay, semantic similarity, and it will fetch out the 2 laptops, okay, from the text file which we uploaded, this text file which we uploaded, right? From this it will fetch out the 2 two laptops, because we have mentioned two over here. And then when user asks the question, it will fetch the two records, and here we are printing the output. See, this is what it gives us. So these are the two laptops recommended by Retriever on the basis of the text file which we uploaded. This is how RAG works. But you can see here that this is fast. This is simple and fast way, right, to search new updated information. But if you'll notice that it is not searching live websites like Amazon or Flipkart for the answer, and it is not comparing specifications of the laptop. It is not doing any sort of planning or reasoning. It just found the information in the vector database. It performed the search similarity, and then it provided us the answer. So this is what RAG is. Now let's see how agentic RAG will handle this question, the same question, what is the best laptop for AI under 80,000? Let's see how agentic RAG will handle this question. So first step will be that your agent will plan the task. And planning means before doing anything, the agent plans how to reach the goal, and the goal over here is find the best laptop for AI under 80,000 rupees. So the agent creates a step-by-step plan. So it planned, let's say it planned that first I need to search e-commerce websites for laptop in that price range which user mentioned. Then I have to filter out the models based on the performance. Then I need to perform the comparison of important specifications like CPU, GPU, RAM, like these kind of things. Then I need to choose and recommend the best laptop. So this initial thinking, this step-by-step thinking, this is what makes it agentic. So here agent is not just reacting, it is planning first, and after planning the task, then it is performing that task step by step to achieve the result, right? Once the task is planned, it will start the task then. So first it will search the e-commerce websites for laptop in the mentioned range, and to get the list of laptops as per the question which user mentioned, agentic RAG will perform multiple smart searches. Guys, this part is also very important. So what we have mentioned, the question which user mentioned, what is this? Find the best laptop for AI under 80,000 rupees. So this is the question which we typed, right? Now this agentic RAG will ask the same question in different words to get the more smart answers. Let's say it asks the same question like this and like this. So see, the context of the question is same, but it is asking the same question in different ways to fetch the more good results. So with each search, the agent refines its knowledge, it adjusts its strategy, it learns what matters and what to search next. And to get accurate and real-time result, agent is also using tools over here. So in this example, let's say agent used APIs from Amazon or Flipkart to fetch the products, right? So we are searching laptop, agent is searching laptops, and to get the real live data, from where agent will get the real live data? From the websites like Amazon and Flipkart. So it will use APIs, tools to fetch data from there. Then agent will also use tools like comparison tools to compare the prices and everything, right? So here the agent is not just retrieving chunks. See, in RAG, agent is just retrieving chunks which are already stored in the pre-knowledge database. But in agentic AI, agent is not just retrieving chunks, it is using external tools, it is using multiple questions to search the question, it is interacting with the real world data, right? So once it received the new information as per the user question, agent will then analyze the data. So till now, what we have done, what agent done till now? So the agent searched the websites like Amazon and Flipkart, and using different tools, right? Once the data is collected, the new data is collected, after that agent will analyze the data. Analyze the data means let's say there is one laptop, laptop A, and there is another laptop, laptop B. So it will analyze that laptop A has RTX 3050 and it has 16 GB of RAM. So that means it is good for ML. And there is one laptop B. So laptop B is cheaper, but it has no GPU. That means this laptop is not good for AI. So agent here, agent compares, agent is performing filtering, and it is making smarter decisions. Means agent will filter out weak options and it will pick the best. It will pick the best option based on reasoning. So here agent is thinking and reasoning. First it planned and then it is performing thinking and reasoning. And finally, it will generate the answer that the best laptop for AI under 80,000 is this, and it has this these specification. And if you are looking for a cheaper alternative, then you can go for this laptop. So like this, with agentic AI, agent plans, agent search multiple times with refined queries, agent use tools and APIs, agent think and reason before answering, and it provide more intelligent and reliable response as compared to the basic RAG. So this is what agentic RAG is. Now we know what is agentic RAG and how it is different from RAG. Now let's see how to implement the concept of agentic RAG in EGNOU. Before that, let's open the documentation of EGNOU first. So this is the documentation of EGNOU, and on this side, guys, under concept, just scroll down, agent, teams, model, tools, reasoning, memory, knowledge. See this knowledge, click on this and then click on this overview. What is knowledge? Knowledge is domain specific information that agent can search at runtime to make better decisions and provide accurate responses. So this is what agentic RAG is, right? So what is knowledge? Knowledge means the information, the new, current, updated information which LLM doesn't have. Okay, that is knowledge. So that knowledge we are providing to agent at runtime to make better decisions. So this is what, so that your agent can provide you accurate responses. So this is what agentic RAG is, and the concept of knowledge in EGNOU is this only. Now we know what knowledge is. Knowledge means external information. Now how to provide knowledge to the agent, right? So there is different kind of data. So text data is there, data is in PDF file. Sometimes you need data from text file, sometimes you need data from CSV file. Sometimes there are websites, you need to scrap the data from websites, and then you need your agent to access that data, right? So we have variety of data, so variety of knowledge. So every time whenever you want to provide knowledge to your agent, you need to use a knowledge base, and for every type of data there is a different knowledge base. So if you'll scroll down, let's just scroll down and see here archive knowledge base. This means if you want to load data at runtime from archive. What is archive? Where you can find research papers, right? So if you are building some application where you need the access to latest archive papers, right, then you can use archive knowledge base. It will load the data from archive website and then you can use it. Let's say if you want to work with the CSV data, then you will use a CSV knowledge base. And if you are working with PDF, then you will use a PDF knowledge base. If you want to fetch data from websites, then you will use the website knowledge base. In the same way, if you have data in the form of text files, you will use the text knowledge base. So like this, there are different knowledge bases and you have to see which kind of data you want to access, and you have to pick the knowledge base according to that. So let's say if you decided to use the text knowledge base, okay, this text knowledge base. So what will you do? Let me explain you the steps one by one. Text knowledge base means you will load the text files. So let's say first you will import it like this. So every time when you are using a different knowledge base, you need to import that knowledge base. So we are importing it from here. And guys, then we are using this line. So remember when I have explained you the concept of RAG, there I have told you that the LLMs don't understand the words, they understand the data in the form of numbers. So we use some embedding model to convert those words into numbers, to convert those words into embeddings, and then we store those embeddings into vector database. And when user will ask the question, retriever will fetch the data from vector database, right, where we stored the embeddings, and then on the basis of similarity it will fetch out the result. So that part is going to happen in agentic RAG also. Okay, agentic RAG concept will be same what we have studied in the normal RAG, but additionally the agentic part is added in it, right? So why we are using this PG vector in my today's tutorial, we are going, once we load the data from sources like websites or anywhere, so once you get the new data, we will store that data into a vector database, and the vector database which we are using today is PostgreSQL. And this PG vector is the plugin which helps you store the embeddings into the database. Okay, so using this PG vector plugin, you will store the embeddings into the Postgre database as embeddings. Okay, so that's why we are importing it. Sometime I'll show you how you can install these things, but for now we are just getting the basic idea that how we can use agentic RAG in EGNO. So you will first import the knowledge base, and then you will import this PG vector. Why? Because we want to store the data which we are going to load using this text knowledge base. That data we will store in the form of embeddings in PostgreSQL database using this PG vector plugin. So here we are using that knowledge base, then we are providing the path where the text files are, then we will store that data into the this PostgreSQL database. Okay, so this is the username and password. Here you will write the username and password of your PostgreSQL, and this part I will show you in some time. Okay, and this is the table name. So AI table name, username is AI, password is AI. I'll show you how you will download and install PostgreSQL database, then how to set the username and password, how to create a table, everything I'm going to tell you in some time, right? So now you get the basic idea. Now let's see the practical implementation. So for that, you will open command prompt here. So guys, I am working in a separate environment. So because I always recommend to work in a separate environment, but this is not a mandatory step. So this is optional. The only prerequisite to run our today's code is that you should have Python installed. And let me show you the Python version which I'm using. So Python version is 3.12.10. And now you need to install EGNO because we are going to run today's code in EGNO. For that, you will write pip install upgrade EGNO. Okay, and then hit enter. In my case, I have already installed it, so I'm not rerunning it. So in your case, you will run this command and EGNO will be installed. Now let's choose the knowledge base to try for our today's class. So let's try the first one only, archive knowledge base. So we will load the papers, the updated papers from archive, and then we will ask the questions and we will see how this application, our agent, reply us back using agentic RAG based on the recent data, okay, recent information. So let's click on this archive knowledge base. See guys, to use this archive knowledge base, you need to install this archive package. So just copy it and install this package. So okay, so in my case, I have already installed it. So you will run enter after it and this package will be installed. Now the requirement is fulfilled. Now you can run this code. Okay, so what is the code? See, from igno.knowledge.archive, we will import this archive knowledge base, and this pg vector I've already told you, because we want to store the data which we are going to fetch from the archive website. That paper, those paper, the data related to those papers we want to store in PostgreSQL database in the form of embeddings, and for that we need this pg vector. So we will use this knowledge base, and then here you will mention the queries we want to search the archive website for generative AI papers and machine learning papers, and then we are storing those papers in the local machine. So now let me show you first how to install and download and install this PostgreSQL database, and then from where you will get the username and the password and the table name, and then we will come back to this page and we will run this code. Okay, so let's see how to download and install this PostgreSQL database. So guys, first thing is, let's check if this database is already installed or not. So for that you can run this command psql space hyphen version and enter. If the database is installed, you will see the version like this, and if you are saying this psql is not recognized, that means your PostgreSQL database is not installed. Then you have to download and install it. Now let me show you the steps how to download and install it. So for that you will open this link. This is the postgresql.org. You will visit this page, and after that you will click on this download the installer. Okay, after that you will click on this download the installer, and then you will be redirected to this page. Then see, if you want to install it on Linux, then you will click here, but in my case I want to install it for Windows. Click here. Okay, so let's click here. When you will click on over here, see the download will start over here. So you will see this folder in your downloads directory. From there we will install it. See, now it is downloaded. I have already installed this database. So during installation I took the screenshot of each step. Now I'm going to show you those screenshots so that you can also perform the same steps, and then we will see how to use it. Okay, so this is the next step. Here, see, you will see it in downloads folder like this. You will click on it, and when you will click on it, you will see this kind of page. Then you will click on next, and then here also next. And guys, see, here you can see the location where it is going to get installed. So it is going to get installed in this location, and then next. Okay, here, then again next, then next. Here you will type the password which we are going to use. So remember, here this is the password, right? And this is the username. Okay, so the data super user is, see, if you are not creating the user manually, so the by default the super user will be Postgres. Just remember this, because we will use this username Postgres, and the password will be whatever password you want to write that password, and then remember it, because we are going to use that password in the command later. So password, and then retype password, and after that this is the port. This also you remember, port number 5432. See, and if you'll go to this page only, see here they are using the different port number. So if you'll use this port number, then your code will not work. You need the port number which you have defined during the installation. So in our case the port number is 5432. Okay, then click on next, and then next, and then again next, and then installation will start. Okay, once the installation is done, finished. Okay, once click on this finish, and after that open the command prompt and check the version again. See, I'm checking the version again, but still it is showing pSQL is not recognized. That means there are some other steps which we need to perform. So we need to add the path of this PostgreSQL in the environment variables. So how to do that? Let's see. So first you will open C drive. So this is my C drive, and go to program files, and here search for PostgreSQL. So this is the folder you will see. Okay. If you have downloaded and installed the PostgreSQL as I've shown you, then you will see this folder. Open this folder. We are using the 17 version, and then go to this bin folder. Now copy the path from here, this path, and you have to open the environment variables. For that, you will write environment variable and you'll see this kind of screen. Go to this environment variables and then system variables. Click on edit. Okay, system variables, then go for path. Just see where the path is. Here you see the path variable. Click on it and click on this edit, and then here you will add the paste that path and you will click on OK. See, I have already done that. Click on OK and then OK and then OK. Now again open command prompt. Close the prompt which you already opened. Close that and open it again, and then check the version again, and you will see that the PySQL is installed. You will see this kind of output. So this is how you will install the PostgreSQL database. Now we are ready to run this code. So guys, now the next step is we need a database with the name of AI. You can create the database with any name, but make sure the database which you have created, that name you will mention over here, because in that database we want to create table and save the embeddings. In our case, we just installed the PostgreSQL, right? So we don't have anything in it, so we need to create this AI database. So let's see how to create it. So go to your command prompt again, and here you will create the AI database, and for that you will first write. So this is the command. Write this command and hit enter, and you will write the password here. See guys, the password, which password we need to write over here? The password which you created when you were installing the Postgres, right? At that time I've told you to mention the password, to write the password, and the super user was Postgres, right? So you will mention the password here. So let's write. So I've mentioned the password. You will see this kind of screen. So guys, here we can do one more thing. We can also create another user with the name of AI, and we can also provide the password AI. So let's do that also. And to create a user, you will write create user AI, username is AI, and the password is AI. Okay. So that we can use this URL as it is. You can write, you can create the user AI with password AI. So that's what I'm doing. Enter. But guys, this is not a mandatory step. In my case, AI user is already existed. So that's why it shows that this user exists. In your case, it will create the user. But again, you can create user with any other name. You can set any password. Okay. So now we have a user AI, password AI. Now let's create a database with the name of AI. So to create database, you will write create database and then the database name. So when you will hit enter, this database will be created. In my case, already exists because I have already performed this step. Now we need to grant permission to this user to access this database. So for that, you will write this grant all privileges on database AI to AI. This is the database name. This is the username. Means we are providing all the privileges to this user to use this database. So after that, just Control Z and you can come out of this shell. Now we have created a database. We have a user AI. We have set the password AI. We have a database with the name of AI. And the only thing is our port number is different. So we have to write the port number which we have used while installing the PostgreSQL database. Now everything is installed. Now let's run this code. So to run this code, we will open a Jupyter notebook. So let me open a Jupyter notebook. So I'll show you the code in demo folder, and here is the file, and select the kernel and here paste this code. See, this is the code. So first we are importing the archive knowledge base. Why? Because we want to get the real new updated papers from archive website, and we want to store them in a PostgreSQL database. Embeddings should be stored in that, and for that we need this PG Vector plugin. And then this is how we use it. Here we have mentioned that we need papers related to these two keywords, and then once it will fetch the data from archive, we will store that data over here. Okay, the username is AI, password is AI, and the port number you need to change. The port we have by default is 5432. Username we have created AI, password we have set to AI, the database name is AI, right? So everything is ready. Now let's run it. So we haven't provided the embedder. So we haven't mentioned the embedding model. So by default, it will use the OpenAI embedder. Okay. We haven't installed this PG vector. So sorry, I forgot to mention that we need to install this PG vector also. This is a plugin, right? So this plugin will connect, will help us load and embed the data, store the embed data in a vector database, right? So we need to install this. So let me show you how to install it step by step. Open command prompt again. For that, you will install PG vector and this package. Okay, so you will install these two packages. I have mentioned all these steps in the description section. When you will execute this command, so this will install the Python client for PG Vector, which means that your Python code can talk to this PG Vector enabled PostgreSQL database, right? But it will not install the vector extension. We need to install the vector extension also into the PostgreSQL. So we need to install that extension manually. So let me show you how to do that. So for that, you will open this link. Let me show you the link. So this is the link. I have mentioned this link in description section. Okay, so just click on this link and then you will be redirected to this page, and you will download this one because we are using PostgreSQL 17 version, right? As per your PostgreSQL version, you will install it. So we will install this zip file, download this zip file. Okay, so just click on it. This file will be downloaded. And once this file is downloaded, here you can extract it. You'll see this kind of folder. Now let me show you the screenshot. I have performed all the steps which are needed to make this extension work. See, here on this side, this is the folder. Which folder? My PostgreSQL folder. When we installed PostgreSQL at that time in program files, over here in 17, you have to open the lib folder. Okay, so this is the folder of a PostgreSQL, and on this side, see, this is my downloads folder, right? In downloads folder, we have this and we unzipped it, right? And then if you will, after unzipping it, you will see the lib folder inside it. You will open that lib folder. Inside that, you will see this file. Okay. Then what you have to do is you have to paste this, copy this file from here and paste it in the lib folder of your PostgreSQL. See, I have pasted it over here. Okay. This is the first step. After that, you will open the extension folder of your PostgreSQL. Okay, this is the extension folder of our PostgreSQL database. And on this side, from downloads, the vector plugin, you will open the extension folder from here also. And you will copy all the SQL text files. See, all the files you will copy from here and you will paste them in your PostgreSQL folder, okay? Inside this extension folder. paste it over there. See, extension folder of our PostgreSQL, and I have pasted all these files over here. Guys, after that, open command prompt again. Here I have opened the command prompt and I'm running it as administrator. Guys, make sure to run this command prompt as administrator, okay? And then you will write this command, net stop. We are stopping the PostgreSQL once, okay? So server is stopping. Now let's restart the Postgres service again. So like this, you can start. So while stopping, you need to mention stop over here. While starting, you will mention start over here and hit enter. See, service started successfully. Now let's test with our database, the database which we have created, AI. So you can run this command. So AI is the database name, enter. It will ask you for a password. So you will write the password of your PostgreSQL. I have mentioned it, and see, we have opened. Now we are inside the AI database. Now everything is set up successfully. Now let's go back and run the Agentic RAG application. So we are going to use this archive knowledge base. This will fetch the real-time latest paper from archive website. Then we are going to store it in PostgreSQL database using this PG Vector plugin. This PG Vector plugin will store all the papers, relevant papers we get related to these two fields will be stored in PostgreSQL database. And inside AI database, we are going to have archive document for this table. In this table, we are going to store the embeddings of those latest papers, okay? So first we need to create the agent, okay? So let's perform all those steps one by one. Let me show you. See here. First, we are importing all the required modules. So we need this module because we want to load the API keys from .env file. Which API key we need from .env file? Let's say, guys, if you are using LLM from Google, so you will use the API key of Google. If you are using OpenAI's LLM, then you will load the API key of that. So like this, if the model which you are using needs API key, to load that API key from .env file, you need this, okay? And where is this .env file? This .env file should be in the folder where your code is. So if I have a code agentic rag this Jupyter notebook in demo folder, then your .env file should be in demo folder only, okay? And then this, because I'm using LLM which I'm going to use is OpenAI's LLM, so that's why I've written this. To create the agent, you need to import this package. So archive knowledge base, because the agentic RAG application which we want to build today will pull new papers from archive website. So real-time data fetching will be happened because of this. And then this to store the embeddings in the PostgreSQL database. We need this plugin, okay? So in first line in this cell, I'm just loading the API keys. If API key is not available, user will see this output. Otherwise, API key will be loaded in this file. After that, this is the part where we are telling that we want to search for these two topics on archive. Using this, those topics will be searched, and then in our AI database folder, this port number should be correct. So in our case, it is 4532. Username, password is AI, username is AI, which we have created. And in this database, we want the table with this name where we want to store all the fetched data from archive related to these two topics, okay? And after that, we are just providing this knowledge base to the agent. Now agent will see whenever there is a need to fetch data from this knowledge base, so the agent will do that. Search knowledge true means agent can search the knowledge from this knowledge base, okay? And agent can search the knowledge. So this is what agentic RAG is. Agent can search the knowledge from here, and knowledge base will get the real time data, the latest data from the archive website. Okay. And after that, agent dot knowledge dot load recreate false. Why we are writing it like this? Because see, what we want is, let's say, related to these two topics, once the data get fetched from the website, we will store that data into a vector database. Okay. And then next time, let's say when we are using this application, we don't want to perform all those steps of fetching the data from the website again. So data is there in the vector database, and we don't want to create the duplicate copies in the vector database. So if data is there in the vector database, so we will not save it again. Okay. So if data is already saved, we don't want to save it again. So for that, we have written this. And after that, now let's check if our application is working. So user asked the question. Now this part is for asking the question. So input means user will see an input box where user will write a question, and then that user question will go to the agent. Okay. And then agent will work on it. Let's run this code and see. Okay. See, this kind of input box user will get. Here user can ask the question. Let's say we want to ask this question, latest paper in generative AI. So this is my question. And now when I'll hit enter, this question will go to the agent. Agent will search the archive website and will fetch the output. Let's run it. See, this is our question. Latest paper in generative AI. This is a question. Search knowledge base. Tool calls. Latest paper in generative AI. And then this is the response. Here are some of the important papers. See, first one, second paper, third paper, and fourth paper. So we got these papers from the archive website. So it is fetching the real data, real information from the website, and we can see the response over here. So guys, this is how you can use agentic RAG, and there are different knowledge bases, right? So you can pick the knowledge base as per the use case you're working on, and you can try this code, and the link of this code is given in description section. You can get this code from there. And I hope this video is helpful. And guys, if you like my content, please like, share, and subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching.